Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Ways and Means Committee meeting to order, please. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Mr. Stockin.
Present.
Mr. Fanton. Mr. Curran. Mr. Decker.
Here.
Mr. Havey.
Here.
Mr. Healy.
Here.
Mrs. Hopkins.
Here.
Mrs. Root.
Here.
Mr. Crandall. 9 present.
Thank you. Clerk of the Board has insurance recovery for us.
Yes, I'm requesting a resolution accepting a check in the amount of $833.09 from NYMER. This represents supplemental charges associated with the repair of our 2020 case excavator that was damaged on June 16th.
Thank you. Have a motion, Mr. Fanton. Is there support, Mrs. Root? Are there any questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. We have designation of newspapers for 2022.
Yes, the Republican Party members of the board have respectfully requested and recommended the Alfred Sun of Alfred, New York, and the Spectator of Hornell, New York, be designated as 2 of the 3 official newspapers.
Hear that. Is there a motion? Mr. Healy makes the motion. Mr. Havey with support. Are there any questions? These would be the same as previous year. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that's carried. Thank you.
You also should have received a copy of some proposed board rules.
We have a motion for those. Mr. Decker, is there support? Mr. Havey, are there questions? Mrs. Root?
It was an awful lot to read through and to compare the two. Could you give us an overview of what changed from the old ones to the new ones?
A couple things changed. There was a few grammatical things, a few commas added. We put the committees in alphabetical order. There was a couple other things, and unfortunately, I could send a highlighted copy if that would be easier. I think it's hard to describe every change when I don't have them right in front of me, but I'd certainly be happy to send a highlighted copy.
It sounds like it was just housekeeping and getting things in order as far as grammar and that, correct?
The majority of it
Yes,
was.
no significant policy change?
There was a couple changes regarding motions and abstentions, and I don't know if the county administrator might want to speak on those 2 changes.
I don't think I have those changes handy. However, I do know one of the items that we took out of there was previously a fine associated if you were to not vote. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
I believe so.
And we had, through many conversations over the past couple of years, determined that really was not appropriate and should not be in there, so we took that out.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Barnes?
Yeah, I read through both the old and the new, and I had a heck of a time trying to find out where there's any changes. I didn't look for commas, but as to my proposal for future consideration about moving all of our meetings to Wednesdays, that we would have to revise, obviously, this again. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe that is in the board rules, so that would be, if you decide to move forward with it, that is an additional change we'd want to make.
And that can be done at any time, is that correct?
Yes, although any change to the board rules must be done by resolution.
Right.
Are there other questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. Referrals from committee, Resource Management.
Youth Bureau Director Brian Perkins is requesting a resolution approving the 2021 Resource Allocation Plan Agreement with Office of Children and Family Services in relation to the state's allocation of funds to the county for providing youth services under its Comprehensive Youth Services Plan, and I will put that in the form of a motion.
Moved by Mr. Decker. Is there support? Mr. Curran. Are there any questions? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. Is there any old business? New business? Go to the order. Motion to adjourn. Mr. Havy, second Mr. Fenton. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. We're adjourned.